right, guys, I feel like I need an intro, but we're gonna kick this can down the road and see where it goes. Part of the reason I wanted to do this, been getting a lot of questions, mostly from my male friends about like, how to take better care of themselves. And it's not necessarily like all external. It's like, internal too. So like they're trying to lose weight, they're trying to clean up their diet, and have no idea why they're asking me about their diet. But I thought that this would be a good kind of touch point for us to explore just like overall male wellness. And I don't mean like, fitness, although I do think that's a part of it, but I really do mean like taking care of yourself. And I thought an appropriate title for this podcast would be Botox, because that's one of the many topics that I often get asked about. And I really just wanted to kind of open up a forum with two of my very good friends, Charlie Price, Devin Odell, two of my most stylish friends, that's for sure. And really, like, this is the age group of the people that are asking me about this. I don't hear about this from like the 20-year-old that, can do a handstand push-up and, has tight skin and has never seen an ounce of fat in their life. It's more like the guys that are like, 30s to 40s, they still care how they look, and they're fairly active, and they're trying to figure out ways that they can essentially hack aging. And so that's kind of the topic here, is anti-aging, and how can we, explore that, talk about that, maybe give some insight into why it's important, and not necessarily why it's important for us as men in our age, but why it's important for just your overall health. So love to kick things off. When we talk about, men in general, they are usually anti-aging. And they are like, the wrinkles, like a battle wound, and, this scar is this. And like, I get all that, man. I played sports. I've been in combat sports my whole life. I get it. Like, scars are cool. Chicks dig scars. Yeah. Glorious forever. Cool. But like, let's talk about taking care of yourself. And I'll use a perfect example, Charlie, of like how men take care of their face or hair, and they just grab whatever soap or whatever
the 2-in-1
product. The 2-in-1, exactly.
Like 3-in-1 now.
Yeah, it does.
And they're like, why is my hair thinning? Why is my skin breaking out? Why is my skin always dry? It's like, do you use sunblock? And like, I never used any of this stuff until I was in the business. This is going to be our third year, but it's a thing. It's like, really, it's the path of least resistance. Like, oh, that's my wife's conditioner, or like the shampoo for her blonde hair, and I put it in mine.
Absolutely.
It happens all the time.
The expensive one.
Yeah, it's convenient. It's right there.
Yeah,
so accessible.
And so it's like, I don't know if it's general laziness or just lack of awareness. And we talked about this a little bit before. If you look at, I'm going to take a lifestyle brand of like clothing, like outerwear, we'll call it athleisure, Lululemon. If you look at the footprint of their store, what percentage of that footprint is dedicated to men?
25 square feet.
But like, less than 15%, maybe 20%. And the rest is men. I mean, think of any other brands. And I promise you, they didn't start out selling menswear. Yeah. They're just like, the guys are coming here too. We might as well make some shorts for them with built-in underwear. I mean, that's what got me hooked. Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit in the context of like personal care products. And because I'm very curious to hear like your thoughts, because you see, lots of women come in, and I know they're bringing their guys in there as well, and they're shopping for their men. I mean, tell me about kind of your experience in that realm, and, what you've seen throughout your business at Charlie & Co.
Well, I think, alluding to, number one, thanks for having me.
Of course.
Thanks for allowing this. I think I got a Hanes white T-shirt on today for being your most stylish friend. Probably need to get some new friends, but thanks for having me, Devin. It's always good to be in the same room as you. This is it's a fun topic. It's a topic that you can go down multiple rabbit holes. You can, guys in general are just creatures of habit. We go about our days, we go about our time, and I think if anything is the level of convenience is implored through mostly even just talking about this at the beginning, we all talked about, our maintenance, what we do for ourselves, and it usually segues off to a female trait.
Right.
I go whenever, the first pair of Lululemon shorts I bought was when my girlfriend was shopping in Lululemon. Perfect. And 2-in-1, liner, shorts, perfect. That's all I need. In a catering to a female dominated business, there's a huge gap with men, and a lot of it in the salon environment and the high-end hair salon. Both of you have been clients of the salon. Both of you have been in the salon. Both of your wives and girlfriends are clients of the salon. So there's an intimidation factor. There's an intimidation factor of a guy walking into a salon. When they walk into the salon, they're greeted by 2 females, and they look around the room, and there's 25 females. And those 25 females have 25 female clients. All of a sudden, they are very outnumbered. And I think that intimidation factor is one that needs to be broken down, and the essence of being a man in a room that's completely filled with women, that makes us uncomfortable. We just talked about that going to Pilates and yoga.
Yeah.
Right away, there's a stipulation of, okay, this is awesome, but I'm really uncomfortable.
Yeah,
so let me get
emasculated because you're the only guy in that location.
And you're asking questions and all of it, right?
Absolutely. And you're looking at yourself and you're wondering, why do I have so much clothing on? And these girls are half naked. And
how do you put your toe there?
How do I do this?
How do I do this?
I do this? And being in late 30s, early 40s male, that's not a comfortable feeling. Right. For me, it's not. I don't want to feel that often. Yeah. I want to be in an environment where I'm comfortable. I want to be in an environment where it's looked highly upon. And in that moment, in those first introduction into a salon, into a hair salon outside of a Pro Cuts or Super Cuts or barbershop, whatever it is, or boardroom.
Yeah,
that's a level of uncomfortable. But then you notice the segue into, okay, wow, this is a really cool experience. Like, this person cares more than the girl at Pro Cuts did. Mm-hmm. She's asking me the right questions. I think I'm answering them the right way. I've never been asked them, so they're getting an honest answer. And I find that men just become creatures of habit in the sense of, wow, this was a really cool experience. I think it was cool. I've never known it anything else than what I'm a creature of habit doing. Barbershop, Pro Cuts, Super Cuts, boardroom, whatever that is. And, like you alluded to earlier, Amir, it's one of those things that if I then take the time to refer a man to a product, to a routine, 100% of the time, they follow through. Yeah. With women, it's a little bit different. I really have to prove that routine. I really have to prescribe something that maybe is unique, maybe something that you're seeing a lot on the internet. You're seeing, girls talk about, but guys, it's a lot easier to push that button forward into routine. It's just opening that door.
And it's also what I've noticed, Charlie, about your place is it's not one size fits all. I mean, you've got more retail than like a Sephora. You've got all these different brands, and it's not like what's good for this person is good for that person. Correct. It's really like catered to them. Right. And I think that's the conversation because, guys, their mentality is, if it works for that guy, it's not going to work for me. Or if it's going to work for her, it's not going to work for me. And so when we talk about health and wellness, we're talking about taking care of, the external, and that's your face, your body, your skin, and then internally, like your overall health and wellness. So like making sure your hormones are in balance, making sure you're burning fat, you're building muscle, like all these things that are happening and that there are big fads right now in in society. They're not being customized to people. They're like, well, you can do like Hims. You've heard of that brand Hims? Mm-hmm. Yeah, come on in. Everybody, Viagra for everybody. Hair minoxidil for everybody. And like maybe that works, maybe it doesn't. How do you know if you're one of those people that it's going to work on? And I think that's where, like, that's how the whole idea for Vitalyc came up. I was visiting other medical spas kind of doing research. And I walked into one that it was like a pink room with like chandeliers, and there was like, you know, female oriented magazines there. And
Did you get your lips done?
it was in West Hollywood. And I'll leave the brand out, but it was
he didn't answer that question.
It was their flagship location. I was the only guy in there, and there's probably 5 or 6 people in the waiting room. And I the way that everybody in there looked at me, even when I checked in with the front desk, it's like I'm a guy shopping at Victoria's Secret. That's how I felt.
That's a perfect analogy.
And I was like, wow, that's you know, and I'm 6'2", I've got tattoos. Like it takes a lot to make me feel uncomfortable. I'm like, wow, that's like I feel like I don't belong here. And so that part of the precipice of Vitalyc was like I wanted it to be gender neutral. And I'm not saying like I know where my bread is buttered. I know 87% of our clients are female, but I also know that if you don't make that business open to 50% of the population, it's not really much of a business. I mean, it could be. It just, I feel like you're alienating people, and like we have to do stuff for both, because there are products, like you said, you mentioned lips earlier. Yeah. Very low percentage of men get their lips done, very low. Right. But it's like probably the highest dermal filler for the lips is probably the highest percentage for women. Yeah. But, you know, men tend to get more laser hair removal. I know that sounds weird, but they just do. So it's like there's different things for different people and genders. I would say different things for different genders that skew more towards one gender. Like hair restoration is huge for men. PRP injections, you know, scalp treatments, things like that. Women, you know, most of them have good hair. I know some don't, but like it's just low priority for them in terms of what we do.
Well, and just going off of what you were talking about, the bridge to that gap is education.
Right.
I mean, so many guys, when they think of hair treatment, all they think about is the Bosley commercial, like the guy getting out of the pool and he's got his full head of, you know,
his full toupee.
Exactly. It's full plugs or, you know, whatever the preconceived notion of what that is, all of a sudden, and I'm guilty of that as well. It's like, you know, I've heard about this person, I've seen him or her, and I've already judged. I don't like them. You know, where this is kind of the same thing. We're walking in the hair salon. It's more about just educating you that, no, you don't have to use a number 1 on the sides and a number 2 on the top. You know, it can be, and the gap gets bridged by teaching, by showing you there's another way. You know, there's a lot of different things you can do to maintain hair growth, maintain scalp stipulation, other than going and getting hair plugs.
Right.
Yes, that's an option, and it's a great option. You know, we have a lot of guys that have it, and it looks absolutely amazing. The 3 of us sitting at this table are fortunate enough that we're not in that bracket.
Right.
So, but when, you know, when I look at a guy and a woman starts asking me about, you know, hey, my husband, you know, he's just always wearing a hat, or he's always just getting his hair, you know, is there anything? Well, yeah, but the question is the, you know, how much does he care? You know, some guys, it's just not a thing.
I think they're starting to care now.
And that's the biggest component. They want to be educated. They want to learn, but they also want to be comfortable asking those questions.
Yeah. And it's something that I think is growing with, like, as time passes, because, you know, I think women have been super users of all these, like, let's call it external aesthetics, Botox, filler, lasers, body contouring, all that stuff. Non-surgical, right? We're talking about non-surgical stuff. Surgery is an option, but it's in low demand right now. That stuff. So women have been kind of owning that and like really just taking it and making it their own for 20 years. That means that women are, in my opinion, looking younger than they ever were. And guys are just chugging along, looking older. And I think the guys of our generation, as they're getting older, like, well, you know, I really looked good at 30, and I'd like to stay that way. Like the 30-year-old me is the best me. Yeah. You know?
Well, that's when I started doing everything.
Yeah.
It was about that time. I was like, I want to look like this when I'm 40, when I'm 42. You know, and that's when I started doing Botox and everything else.
42 is not all it's cracked up to be. I'll just tell you that right now.
You're 42?
Yeah.
I'm 42. When's your birthday?
February 11th.
I'm February 20th.
Nice.
There we go.
All right, next year we'll celebrate. Yeah. We'll do this again.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, so that, I mean.
And wait, Devin, it was 30 for you?
Yeah.
Like 30 was kind of.
It was that pace for me.
I think that was the first time that, well, no, it was probably a couple years later.
Everything started changing, you
Yeah, of
again,
course.
Like you mentioned earlier, when you're in your 20s, you can run and gun as hard as, and fast as you want, but then everything starts to slow down.
Yeah. Change starts to happen at 30.
When you guys think about like kind of where would you, and we tell people this when we're doing consultations all the time, like look at yourself in a mirror, full body mirror, and where do your eyes go? Because that's an area of concern for you.
Yeah, totally.
You're not looking at, if you have really nice eyes, you're not looking yourself in the eyes. Maybe you are, but like usually people kind of skew to the negative and they kind of focus on the area that they want to work on. Where do you guys think men spend most of their time? Are they thinking about like face, body, skin? I throw hair in there as a category. Like what do you think tracks most for men when they look at themselves in the mirror? Full body mirror, butt naked, like what do you think a man would say?
I'm sure your body. I can only imagine. I mean, especially now with iPhones giving you your featured photos from 5-6 years ago, and
I just deleted my Airbnb profile picture because it was a picture of me when I lived in Tulum like 10 years ago, and I was shredded, and I was like, yeah, that's not that guy anymore. That's not that guy.
I mean, you get reminded of those types of things, and I could see hair being a massive one. I think for a lot of, like, especially now, people fix their teeth first before they fix anything else. They get veneers. I see that a lot now.
Yeah, I think that goes back to like the face, and so you can get veneers. I think going rate's about $1,000 a tooth.
Yeah,
which great, $20,000, brand new teeth. That's great, but like, there's a cosmetic aspect to it. There's also like a health and wellness aspect to it. Sure. It's like, if I want to look good, what do I have to do to look good? Do I just start eating clean, working out, or are there shortcuts that I can take that are like these biohacks? Like we'll use hormone therapy for one example. Like if you optimize your hormones, get yourself on the right dose of testosterone, as we age, I think 33 to 35, you start losing your natural testosterone every year.
Yeah.
So if you can optimize
33 for me when I started coming to Vitalyc.
Yeah. And that's common. I mean, some guys start in their late 20s, others, they don't start seeing those decreases in your natural like testosterone levels, and then they get on hormone therapy, and then once that's optimized, then you're building more muscle, which means you're burning fat, which means you're stronger, which means and you're not having roid rages. So that's another big misconception. They think like, oh yeah, I'm getting, hormones. I'm going to be like that guy from the movie The Program. Remember the guy that was on steroids?
Latimer.
He's like, you're leading me on. And he starts headbutting cars when he gets on, the first team. And
he was fantastic.
But that's the misconception. It's like, no, you can just take a normal dose of testosterone and it can change everything, your body composition. It can change your mood, how you sleep, your sex drive. I mean, it's...
All right, educate me. This is something that you do at Vitalyc?
No, I do at Vitalyc.
This is something I haven't done. So I think about, when I think about anything like that, I just go into, okay, what happens in 10 years? What happens in 20 years? Is this, and this is coming from a recovering drug addict. It's like,
totally.
If I start something today, after having 18 years clean and sober, it's kind of like, okay, well, what happens tomorrow? If I have one drink today, I'm going to have a spike in my eyeball tomorrow.
Right.
So when I think about this and when I look at it, because even when you're talking about the full length mirror, everybody goes to a different place. I don't think every person obsesses about the same thing.
Totally.
My teeth aren't the most amazing, but that's the last thing I really care about.
Right.
I go straight to the inner tube, sick 4-pack. What's up with the inner tube?
Yeah.
But educate me in the sense of the testosterone, the routine of it, that then as you do age, because there's two things guaranteed in life. We're going to pay taxes and we're going to die.
Yeah.
We're going to get old.
Yeah.
So what happens when I'm 60, 70? Am I taking more? Am I taking less?
Well, so and I'll just, my personal experience, when, Amir started Vitalyc and I started learning more about what he was doing there, I got my blood taken, and I had no idea I had low testosterone at the time. I just assumed, because of how active I was and how I lived my life, that I had high testosterone. And
I would think so too.
Again, same. And then I had my blood work done, and then I found out I was barely breathing with how low my testosterone I had.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
I swear to God, it was wild.
And this was when?
A couple years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago probably.
Sometime when he first started Vitalyc, and then so I got on a regimen, and again they test your blood again just to make sure you're within this dosage, and I think it's like 600 to 800 whatever it is bips, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah,
is where you need to be. I think I was down like the 200s.
Get out of here.
Yeah. But it completely changes your mood, how you sleep, and it just makes you feel normal again.
Yeah, they've been talking about just just like an anecdote, like testosterone as like a kind of cure for like a midlife crisis, and it's very true, because as you start losing testosterone, you start losing a lot of other things that are important to you, like motivation, sex drive. I mean, it affects your mood.
I think your hair loss though too. I think
it affects everything.
But if you have low testosterone, I think that's like one of the first thing that your hair starts to go.
Right.
And so I mean that's just another hack into making sure.
When you heard that you had low testosterone, not knowing all the labeling of the blood or whatever that was, what did that make you feel like?
Well, at first I laughed.
Yeah, like I would
This
be like,
is bullshit.
This is right. Like you're full of shit. There's not a chance.
And then I texted a couple of my buddies, and I was like, "Hey, man, I have low T. Like, I can't believe it. Like, everybody like make fun of me." But then I got really excited because I was like, "I can't wait to see what I actually feel like or how my life improves."
And that's the void that needs to be filled for me, because it's like, okay, I might have these stipulations of what it is,
Yeah,
but without doing it, I'll never get the benefits
exactly.
that are behind the other door.
And that's just the reality of, I mean, we're getting really into like the wellness side of it, which I enjoy. You just stop creating testosterone when you start aging, and men really, kind of hit their peak late 20s, early 30s. And like, that's the best you're ever gonna look, feel, recover. I mean, you guys remember 28-year-old just go to Vegas for 5 days and still have energy. Like, I can't go to Vegas now for 36 hours without.
I can't go for lunch.
Having a week off when you come home.
And so when that starts happening, and honestly, the only reason I got turned on to it was because just before I moved to Dallas full time, like when me and Jade moved up here, I went to a clinic in Houston, and they're like, "Yeah, let's draw your blood, let's see how you're doing." And so I was kind of like messing with testosterone, but for different reasons. I just wanted to like get jacked. Yeah. And it wasn't like well thought out. They did blood work, but they did a very basic panel, and they didn't test the things and check the things that make prescribing it legit. And so I was like, yeah, I just want to gain some muscle. So they like gave me a high dose and like really didn't monitor me, and I came back every 3 months. It was like not well done. And so I stopped when I moved to Dallas, and then I found another place that was here that was recommended from a buddy of mine, and they just did a really great job and really helped educate me on it. And I
think there was a taboo around the whole thing for a very long time. And
very much so.
Yeah.
Like all of the
Very
walls
much
have been
because
broken
like
down around that.
they think you're Latimer. Like
Yeah.
you're not going to be Latimer. You're not going to headbutt your wife. You're going to recover better. You're going to sleep better.
Yeah.
You're going to feel better. I mean, period. I mean, it's just like the fountain of youth. I don't know how to make it any more simple than that. And it's not expensive. When I say not expensive, I'm talking like, 50, 60. I've seen it as low as $30 a week. And there's different ways that you can take it. Intramuscular injection. You can do pellets in your under your skin, which I think we don't do that. I don't think it's sanitary, but you can do a cream. There's some discussion about that not being as effective. I mean, and I do an intramuscular injection. I think that's just easy. It's once a week. It's not like you're doing it every day, and I can self-administer, so it's not like the end of the world. It's like it's what I do every Sunday. It's like that's how I prepare for my week. Mm-hmm. Testosterone shot. I take some other things. Like
I come by Vitalyc once a week, and it's great for me because I get to just plan my lunch schedule. Be like, I want to go to Hillstone because it's her R&D.
Right.
But it's super convenient. I call them literally 20 minutes before, and they say, yeah, we'll get you in.
And you do a shot?
Yeah, once a week.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I'm in and out in 5 minutes.
I'm really missing the boat here, aren't I?
We'll go together next week.
Yeah, I mean, you come in, you're gonna talk to a nurse practitioner that's gonna really like evaluate, and they're like a just very simple questionnaire. It's like if you're even a candidate for it, and they'll just ask you about your, sleeping habits, about like just some personal, Q&A that is going to help determine whether or not you're a candidate for it. And then the blood work is the ultimate,
show teller.
Yeah, show teller, and it'll basically say like, hey, look, Charlie, this is where you need to be at. Wow. This is where you're at. And then we dose appropriately. So we don't want to get you above that 800. I mean, Latimer was probably at 2,000. Just guessing, looking at the size of the guy. But like, we're not talking about getting like that. We're talking about recovering faster, sleeping better, still maintaining muscle mass. I mean, that's the other thing. When you start losing your testosterone, it's harder to keep on muscle mass. You start to accumulate fat. You talked about that spare tire. And so that's one of the, I would say, wellness hacks to that. And that's something that guys are scared of, or like, they're like, I don't have time to do it. Like, who doesn't have 15 minutes to just go in and like get an injection? You can inject it yourself. You can have your wife do it. You can have your buddy do it. I mean, it's like, that's not the reason. It's something else. And so there's clinical efficacy behind all this. It's like, where you get your product and who's administering it and who's monitoring it. It's not just getting it and doing it weekly. It's like, you also have to like monitor red blood cell count, so that, and if there's any, they check your blood work. So check your blood work before, check your blood work 30 days after, and then it's like quarterly. And if you're, creating too many red blood cells, then you have to like donate blood or dump blood. I mean, it's like a car. It's like
there's a science behind it.
There's a science behind it.
It's not showing up to the dope dealer and just getting a bag of testosterone.
Yeah, give me a 8-ball of testosterone and
so we're staying on this probably for a little too long, but I still need a question answered.
Sure.
For both of you.
Sure.
And I'm going to ask Devin, because you're obviously a client. You've done this. You've continued a regimen with it. What happens when you miss? So what happens when you go away and you're on vacation and you don't get your dose?
Like a week or two is not a big deal. It's not, I mean, and they even tell you, it's like you can come, once a week. We can dose you to once every 2 weeks, whatever that is. I just prefer going once a week because I like going to Vitalyc.
Right.
And here's a little hack. There's a room in the back of the one on Preston. I don't know if you guys advertise this, but
I love the room in the back.
There's a massage chair back there and a TV. So if you got 30 minutes, emails
totally.
and some things, it's just a hack. If you're already there, you might as well. Right?
It's a great massage chair.
It
massages every part of your body.
Yeah. So well played.
Yeah. So I mean that's the hack. So if you get a massage and you get a shot, and then you're out the door. But no, I've actually, I missed. It was like 3 months where I just kind of got out of my routine.
Right.
But I noticed a difference within that 3 months.
See, that's the key. I mean, it's wellness. I feel better when I do this. Yeah. Don't we all want more of that?
100%. And I think they asked when I was looking at kind of, I wouldn't say famous people, but influential people that were doing this and like openly admitting it. This is back in like 2017, maybe beginning of 2018, when I was like putting Vitalyc like together in my mind. I found this quote of Joe Rogan saying, if you're not on testosterone, you need to be on testosterone. It makes you feel better, period. And he like was like not quoting any scientific facts about it. I'm sure his podcast was still huge at the time, but he was just very matter of fact about it. And like, I think that kind of like, this is it. Like, you need to do it.
It moves the needle.
I really do think he had a huge factor in this because he's been on it, I think, admittedly for, I don't know, 13 years or something. It's been a while. Right. And so, I mean, look at the guy. Yeah. It's not just like, look at the guy is very active. He can still kick the crap out of a heavy bag. He's still, active in his business, active in his podcast, active in his comedy. I mean, it's not like he's just sitting around just counting money and, he's a very humble guy and he just is not aging. So there's other factors involved in that, there's peptide therapy and being hydrated and taking care of your skin. And so I think all that together is kind of what is, now it's the norm. So if Joe Rogan is a man's man, can we all agree on that?
Yeah,
correct.
Of course.
Man's man. Yeah. Right. Don't know if he gets Botox or not. I wouldn't be surprised, but like,
I don't know those facial expressions he makes at the UFC.
Yeah, no,
fights.
he's not. There's nothing frozen there.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, total man's man, like total on board with this whole like wellness and
Oh, so very much so.
Yeah.
And very influential on doing so as well.
Yeah. And so that's just like an example of, well, are you doing it because you feel good, or do you really care what you look like? Because I think there's a little bit of both. I don't think it's like he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like there are guys that come in and they're like, I just need to get rid of these love handles. Like that's it. Like I work out. I'm strong. I'm really, you said it earlier, Charlie, 4-pack. I just need to get rid of these love handles.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got an app for that. It's not testosterone, but it could be testosterone paired with this treatment, I mean, there's ways that you can hack your body to get the body that you want, to get the face that you want, to get the skin that you want. And that's what guys just need to be open to. Like, it's not cool to look like shit when you're 42. Correct. That's the truth.
You talked about fashion earlier. I think the basis of how you wear clothes is what's underneath. I mean,
right.
You said it.
Especially with that new AI that tells you what you look like naked.
Isn't that some shit? And then even go back, 2, 3, I can't remember, COVID years where they had Instagram had the filter where it was, took a picture of yourself and showed you what you looked like when you were like 80.
Yeah.
And then everybody was doing that. And I was like,
yeah.
Yeah, pass. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we have something like that. And that's actually a perfect segue into like showing you this, skin analysis. And so forgive the it's not a woman, but it is Jade. And so this software takes 3 pictures of your face, and it basically gives a score to like 6 or 7 main areas on your face that we can quantify, like wrinkles, facial bacteria, red spots, just things that we can quantify, and it gives you a percentile score. And then it compares your face to, thousands of other people your age, skin type.
wow.
And then it allows you to see like damage under the surface. It allows you to see sun damage, if you have melasma, like all these different factors. Then the software takes your face and it shows you what you're going to look like when you're 80. And that's part of the beauty of this software, because this will actually show you, and this person, this is my wife, she's going to hate that we're going to have this on the podcast, but it's a perfect case in point to show you what you're going to look like when you're 80. And it's amazing how people say like, God damn, I look just like my grandfather.
Jade, it said your skin is 26 years old. So
yeah, she's a super user at Vitalyc.
Text her after I got it. Like, congratulations.
Right. No
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, you're reversing.
Yeah.
The masochist in me is like, I'd rather not know. I'd rather not put my head in that cradle and let's see. But then there's the part of the other being of, I have a wife that's 13 years younger than I.
Yeah.
I have a son that's 9 months old.
Yeah.
I really want to feel and look pretty fucking good whenever I'm 60 and that kid's graduating.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
And that's the component to the vanity for me too, that even though, I might be a little more lackadaisical, it's still the awareness of knowing, time will happen regardless of my doing. I'm not in control of that.
But it's maintenance like anything else. Like you would instruct anybody that comes in to get their color done. I mean, it's light maintenance. There's not a lot that it's not like it's an overhaul of your whole entire, person.
I agree. And I don't want to say it can't be invasive, but not like surgical invasive, like still something you can do in 30 minutes. So as we age, this is just like things that I've learned over time about the face is like, as you age, like every other part of your body, your face has muscles, it has fat, it has skin, and these are all what makes your face look the way it does. And if you touch, like my son's 7, I always pinch his cheeks. Like if you touch his face, it feels much different than my face. Mm-hmm. It feels full and tight, and it's really like youthful, right? But as we age, we have fat pads in our face, we have muscles in our face, they start to deteriorate. And if you can do a couple of things, you can build those muscles doing like facial exercises, or you can push-up or you can do treatments that help rebuild collagen in your face, rebuild elastin in your face, rebuild muscles in your face, and then everything that is beyond like rehabilitating, then you insert filler. So what they say, and this is like from the big injectable manufacturers, Galderma, Allergan, MERS. These are all like the people that own the different types of Botox and all the filler associated with it. When you're young, if you imagine a triangle, your face looks like an upside down triangle, you know, and these edges of the triangle are like your cheeks. They're very full, and you have a stiff jawline, and everything is tight and tight and tight. As you age, that triangle turns upside down because gravity kicks in. You start losing all that facial volume. You start losing all that, elasticity in your face, and everything starts to sag. So that 80-year-old version of Jade that you saw is going to happen to everybody. It's when is it going to happen, and how can you, prolong this youthful look? And it's not you have to come and get $50,000 of filler. It's like, no, you have to do like one laser a year to your face to like keep the skin tight and clean. You have to like get you want minimal lines on your face, right? Because that's what you saw with that older version of Jade, like all that fine lines and wrinkles. Botox is going to solve that. And then everything that you can supplement there, filler, microneedling. I mean, there's a ton of different things that you can do, but that's how you preserve, they call it your moneymaker, your face. And it's not just your face, right? It's your face and your neck. Because I've seen so many people that have like gotten, I can tell they've gotten like a facelift or any type of like facial plastic surgery, but they still have a 60-year-old neck. I can tell when you have a 60-year-old neck.
Turkey gobbler.
Yeah, but like, listen, you gotta, it's like a fade, right? You don't go, it's like a step haircut. You don't go from a 1 to a mullet, right?
Correct.
Like you gotta fade it up, and you gotta do the same thing, starting with the neck. Yeah. And so there's just these, hacks that I just learned by being in the business, but also because like my providers will just like Taylor, she'll just grab me. She's like, get in my chair. You're starting to look a little dusty, Amir. And so I'm just like, yeah, whatever, as long as it doesn't hurt. So that was my biggest like fear of like, when you see someone getting a needle stuck in their face, I'm like, that doesn't look good. Like,
no,
doesn't, no. But, we've got this, you guys have all seen The Wolf of Wall Street, but we've got this like topical anesthetic that we put on people's faces, numbing cream. We get it from a pharmacy, and I call it Jewel Face, because it's like from The Wolf of Wall Street when he takes that lewd and he's crawling to his white Lambo. I mean, literally, this stuff makes your whole face numb. You don't feel a thing, and it's like, and if you do feel a thing, there's like other things they can do. They can give you a dental block, which is like what the dentist would give you. They can give you like
but Botox
laughing gas.
Isn't like a painful thing.
Botox does not hurt.
The one time that I had it, I was surprised.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing like with, you get acupuncture done. It's like, wait, you're going to stick these pins in me.
I'm not into acupuncture, but
I had that done, and it was like, wait, why am I looking at my ear, and there's 12 pins in my ear, and I didn't feel a single one of them go in. I felt them come out, but I didn't feel them go in.
Interesting.
Yeah. Is
that like dry needling? Because I've done dry needling.
I
don't know.
It
is different.
I just didn't like acupuncture because you sit still, and however they pin you is kind of how you're going to be.
And
so then you're sitting there for
you are a
45
human
minutes.
pin cushion.
Yeah. And so you can't move your arms or anything.
No.
Yeah, it's relatively,
people love it.
Painless, and like actually there's some people that like it. They're like, okay, like
they find it very
Mrs. Smith, like, I'll go ahead and numb you. She goes, no, you're not. I like it. We're like, wow. Say less, and then some people, to your point, they enjoy it. Some of the things, I mean, you need, we want everyone to be comfortable, but it's like there's laughing gas for people that are really uncomfortable, and that just like mellows you out.
So we can put that back with the massage chair.
We can put that back with the massage chair. Absolutely.
Just have a vat of that with the massage chair.
Absolutely.
So what are you doing Tuesday?
Exactly. Sounds fantastic.
So yeah, and I also think it's important to talk about how doing this stuff. It's like taboo. So like it's not only are they not aware of the benefits. We've talked about a lot of different things, but if we said like, okay, we can make you look 10 years younger, 5 years younger, whatever the case may be, like look, feel, all that stuff. A lot of people are like, okay, what's my barrier to trying it. Like I don't want to do everything all at once. But it's like, what's the gateway to getting people comfortable? And I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, there's got to be some vanity in there. It's like, I want to look good, but like, where do you start as a guy?
I'll just think from the perspective of my brother. I mean, he's late 30s. He's got a wife, 2 kids, lives in the suburbs. He you know, isn't like, you know, incredibly concerned with the way that he looks by any means, but he's coming around to like the low testosterone thing. And I think especially opening that door and getting comfortable and understanding that there are things that can help you and start pushing you into that right direction. And then if he's like me and he's there every week, and then it's like, oh, what about this? Yeah. Oh, you have this over on the counter. Well, what is that? Do I need that? Yeah. Oh, this is that sunscreen that's going to help you, you know, not have skin cancer as well as, you know, look your best. It's like, okay, well, I'll try that now. Yeah. And then slowly, you know, maybe over a year, he's looking for something else. Yeah. But I think just getting somebody in the door.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Just alluded to what I said earlier. You know, once they walk through the door, it's that uncomfortable is there. But I also know that after I do a, you know, Pilates class or after I take a ritual class, I know I feel better.
For sure.
No matter how bad or brutal it was, whatever it was, whether it was the uncomfortability of being in a room with all women or it was, this is way too hard. Yeah. How can I, you know, bench press 300 pounds 12 times and I can't get through a yoga pose.
Right.
You feel better afterwards. Yeah. You feel better that you've invested something into yourself.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what it is, Charlie. I think you just hit the nail on the head. You're investing in yourself. And it's not just like, you guys remember Dion when he was like, before he was Coach Prime, he was just prime time. Yeah. He has this quote that I love.
Oh, it's the best.
And he's
look
like,
good, feel good.
Yeah. Play good,
play good, pay good.
Yeah. And he is dressed up like so well. He's got all of his jewelry on. And he goes, when you look good, you play good. When you play good, they pay good. And he like, there wasn't a mic, but he like basically dropped the mic and left, and everyone was like, wow, like that's pretty true. And so he would always come out. Remember, this is back then when players had a little more, you know, leniency to kind of wear swag, and he always had like his armbands, his gloves. There were custom gloves, like nobody had those before, and he always came out like looking like $1 million. And so I think there's something to that. I think
100%.
When I'm thinking back to like my days where I was, you know, corporate employee, and I had to wear a suit, and because the clients that I was working in, they were business professionals, so they wore suits every day. I had to wear a suit, and then the next company I worked for, I had a suit, and like for 5 years I had got used to wearing suits, and I didn't like it. It's annoying. You have to fix your tie. You have to like, you know, if you had cufflinks, I mean, you get tired of wearing the same shirt over and over again. And I just got used to it. But like, I remember how wearing a suit makes me feel and perform. That's the other thing. Like, you can never be overdressed or overeducated. I'm 100% on that bus, because I don't care where you're going. If you're in a suit, you're never going to feel like you're out of place anywhere. Yeah. Think about it. Church, football game. I mean, they might think you're the owner of the team.
Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah. They might think you're the guys from Swingers, right?
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn and John Favreau. But I think that's kind of what this is where I'm going with it, is like, it really helps boost your confidence, helps you perform better, helps you close deals. I mean, get the right girl, whatever you're after, looking better, feeling better. And that's what looking better does. And so we tell all of our clients, like, cool, come in. We will, unless we suck at our job, you will look good. And but we promise you will feel
better.
Yeah. You will feel good. And if you feel good, then you're set. Because the feeling is what we're going after. Like, if you're comfortable with how you look, great. Don't need Vitalyc. Don't need to go to Hair by Charlie. Yeah. Don't need to buy all of your alcohol at Dynasty Spirit 7. But like, cool. But that's not what we're saying. We're saying if you feel good, you can do anything, right?
It doesn't matter what's doing it, as long as you feel good.
Yeah.
And, you know, then there's you alluded to it in the sense of the honesty. You know, when you come into Vitalyc, when you come into Charlie and Company, there is the level of honesty that, you know, because we all know the male and the female that has completely overdone it and has gone well over the edge.
Right.
We all know that person. We're all thinking of that person right now in our heads. And, you know, for me, sometimes that's the hardest conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't need to do more blonde. Like,
Right.
you don't need to be lighter. You are complete, like, your skin's gone. Your eye color gone.
Yeah.
You look emaciated. You look terrible. Men, whenever they put hair color on their head, it just is like shoe polish.
Right.
Just shoe polish. One layer
Yeah.
of kiwi after another. It's just, bro, you don't look good. Like, it's not a good look. And there comes in that education aspect as well, where, you know, the time that I did have Botox, that one time that I did have Botox and had a bad experience,
Yeah.
you know, there wasn't the education standpoint. There wasn't the, we can make this right. We can make you feel more comfortable, except I had one eyebrow that was higher than the other. And then, okay, I'm out. Like, this isn't for me. That in the salons, you know, and even in educating our staff and our creative team, is sometimes honesty is the best policy. You know, like, you don't have to continue to do this over and over. You have a jacket, you have a tie, you have your pocket square, but you don't need the hat, the scarf, the fur, the gold wing shoes. Sometimes just a little bit goes a long way. And I think that's the important capacity to vanity with men, is sometimes it's just a little sprinkle of little things make you feel better.
Yeah. And how do you go about, I mean, because I know a lot of your clients are female, but it's a different conversation with a female than it is a male, I think. And how do you, I mean, honesty, yes, but like, there has to be some compassion and some understanding. I mean, we take time to get to know those triggers, so we can say, like, you know, not just what are you here for, but like, what's on the agenda today? Like, are we here to talk about, because a lot of people come in and say, I don't know anything. It's we only have 45 minutes, lady. I don't have 45 minutes to walk you through everything.
Totally.
But like, truly, like, let's start with one thing.
Right.
So like, you know, my jawline. Okay. Worried about your jawline? Great. Let's take some photos. Let's talk about like budget. Let us educate you on what we can do about your jawline, and then you make a decision from there. But like, that's very easy to do with females, I think, from what I've noticed. How do you take that approach with men? Because I feel like they would almost be like standoffish, and a lot of times they are, and almost combative. Like, I look great. Like, okay, well, so what are you? You know, they're not going to own that. I'm a little concerned about my weight or chin or wrinkles, or like, how do you overcome that?
So I think, number one, I think we can all agree that there's hair salons, barbershops on every single corner of the city.
Yeah.
We're starting to see med spas all over the place.
Yes.
Okay. We can all agree on that. They're at Vitalyc for a reason.
Right.
They're at Charlie and Company for a reason. Whatever that reason might be, they came to us specifically. And I take so much pride in that, because they could go to a place that's a lot more convenient, a lot easier to get to, a lot more accepting. You know, hey, it takes 3 months to get in with Charlie. You got to pay $1,000 before you even walk in the door. That I think at that moment, that's when they want something real. That's when they want something different than what they have been getting. So for me, and Amir, I think you could probably agree with this. Talking to a woman, a straight, good-looking male, I've been doing my craft for a long time. You've been doing what you're doing. It's kind of easy for me to get into that realm of comfort, of honesty.
Right.
And with men, right away, the guard's up. You know, even talking to Devin about, you know, low testosterone, you know, he was shocked. Well, guess what? I would be really shocked too if I had low testosterone. The masochist in me doesn't want to know. So,
and you'd be like, this is not right.
This isn't right. I need another.
Run it again.
Do it again, and do it a third time.
Yeah.
With men, it's breaking down one brick at a time,
Yeah.
and that's the nice part too, because a woman wants to look like Kylie Jenner, right? Like that.
Yeah.
I want everything done. Instant gratification.
Kylie or Kendall?
I don't know. I don't know which one. You could show me a picture too. I couldn't tell you which one's which, but that's just me. With men, it's kind of brick by brick. like Devin alluded to, in the sense of, okay, I got this
Start
done
with
today.
one, yeah.
Maybe that sunscreen is going to be the topical that I need to, for my everyday.
Yeah, and especially for men, like you work so hard, like especially your later years, you want to be able to go out and enjoy that, still feel super confident.
Yeah, totally.
But Devin, you're like, I guess we talked about men that are, anti-aging, but like you're really the exception, and I think will become the rule because you're, really masculine, very fashionable. You do jujitsu 5 days a week at the Octagon. You lift weights. You can it's not like you're, I don't know. Just you're not a typical guy that would like just own and saying I take care of myself. Yes, I get Botox. Yes, I get testosterone for low T, and yes, I've tried this device, and it's like you're owning it, and that's what I want people to take away from this is like you don't have to be embarrassed. You don't have to be feel emasculated. Like that's why I always tell people I'm not just a hair club president. I'm also a client because I literally do everything, and I'm always on camera doing it. I want that to be celebrated and not mourned, like it is. Yeah. And that was the whole purpose of this kind of dialogue is like, let's not mourn this. Let's,
Well, and I mean, you can go back as far as 5, 7, 10 years ago, where if a girl got her lips done, she wouldn't tell you that she got her lips done.
They still don't, which is hilarious to me.
Yes, but I mean, maybe it's just me being surrounded by, what are you doing today? Well, I'm getting my hair done, then I'm going to get my Botox, and then I go and get my lips done. That it is a lot more talked about with women.
Yeah, openly.
But if I say to you, Amir, what do you got going on this weekend? I'm playing golf. I'm, hanging out with the kids. I have a birthday party here. I'm going out to dinner here. But you did have a Botox appointment.
You have my calendar in front of you?
Why did you go? Why did you go? I still think there's that that point of me telling you that I do that.
Yeah.
That still feels like there's judgment behind it.
Totally.
That you're still judging me. Where with women, it's like, of course you do. Like, of course you're getting your tits done.
Don't insult my intelligence.
Yeah. Like, how many cc's do you get? With men, there's still that barrier that isn't, I don't know. There's still that fear of judgment as well.
And that's also why, I thought this would be, because we, just through our social and website, we've been getting a lot of male focused kind of questions. And I had this idea, and I'll speak as a man. If I didn't own the business, the Instagram would not interest me much, because unless you like looking at beautiful women that have pretty faces and good skin and great bodies, that's, it's truly, it's like, it'd be like too much because it's very female. And so one of our clients was like, you should do like a male channel, like Vitalyc Men Instagram. This was back in December. And so we started one, and it's just like managing 2 social channels is pretty challenging, but it's like make stuff that's very focused towards, because likewise, women don't give a crap what's going on in a men's, like if, you had I don't know a lot of women that subscribe to Joe Rogan. I think maybe more so than others, but it's not a huge, his sponsors do not tell me that he has a lot of female viewers. But if you just created something that was really focused on men and like the services that men would, partake in, maybe that would be like the path to understanding or really just like communicating with them, because our females we communicate with constantly. And not that we don't communicate with our men, but imagine being a man and getting an email about lip filler. And you're like,
but to your point, like we're not sitting around at lunch talking about the different ways that we're really taking care of ourselves. The way women are, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a different level of conversation.
It's a different conversation.
I think even that Instagram showing, hey, this is what you could be doing.
Right.
Laser hair removal. Yeah, that's an option for you. Like there's certain things that are options for you that, again, it just goes back to the education of saying, oh, look, like just have your testosterone checked. It's just something you should probably do.
Correct.
You hit 35, you should do that. You hit 40, you should do that.
Right.
And they're saying
it doesn't hurt to do it.
Right.
Why not find out? Why not make you give yourself an option to feel better?
Well, yeah, and that's if you
By the way, Tuesday works for you?
if you look at just like, they're saying that like our grandparents had more testosterone at 50 than we do at, 33.
Yeah.
There's a testosterone pandemic going on, and that's because of the food we eat, the environment. I mean, there's a bunch of, that's a whole nother podcast,
Sure.
but there's a whole series of data and research around why that is. Forget about why. What can you do to treat it? That's the reality.
Yeah.
And so I think, education is big, and we try to do that. But again, how to do that with a female dominated kind of audience is challenging. And so that's where, I think having this dialogue is like the first step to like, okay, this is what we know is important in men: body contouring, health and wellness, testosterone therapy, peptide therapy for anti-aging, muscle recovery, all that good stuff. Put all that in a box, package it, call it Vitalyc Men, so that we can communicate these things to a group of men that give a crap. I mean, that's what's the point in having something if you can't communicate it out to your audience? It's not just like, a newsletter once a quarter. It's
Right.
like, how do we get this out?
Right.
If
What peptide are you guys doing with Vitalyc right now?
yeah, so they launch July 1st. Dr. Moreno, don't yell at me if that's not the date, but this summer. And so a lot of the stuff around like anti-aging, so Wolverine molecule they call BPC 157, CGC impamorelin, which is like a growth hormone that promotes like muscle growth and recovery. I mean, there's a whole slew of them. Stuff for sexual health, stuff for muscle recovery, stuff for losing weight. We started doing semaglutide, which is like medical weight loss, the Wegovy and all that stuff in January, and that's been a big hit with both male and female audiences. And so the males are like, what else? You've already got my blood work. What else can we do to help me feel better? Because it's like, okay,
I want to be superhuman. Yeah.
yeah. And so that's the goal, is to like, okay, we're already a very vertically integrated medical practice. What can we do to take care of the inside? And we started doing that last year, but it's like, now it's like, we always ask our clients, what would you like to see?
Yeah.
And they're like, get this machine and get that machine. I'm like, relax. but there are things that we can do, because it's like, we already have the tracks laid out. We're adding, a car to the train that's already moving forward. And so that's where the whole peptide conversation came in. And so delivery of peptides is I don't think it's annoying, because I mean, I've gotten used to it. And when I tore my quad tendon, it was like the main reason that I was able to recover so fast. And like, even my doctor was like, how are you already in physical therapy? It's because I was started doing peptides like the day after my surgery, and it just rebuilt my quad tendon in 2 months, to the point to where I could actually start my physical therapy and get my strength back. But you have to basically do a subcutaneous injection. So it's like, think of it as like an insulin needle, very small needle, same needle that you get your Botox with, but like in your stomach fat, or you can do it in your arm or thigh or whatever. But it's daily, so that's kind of annoying. But it's like, the way I think about it, it's like brushing your teeth. Just have the pre-draw the syringes for your night and give them to yourself, and you're good. And you gonna brush your teeth tonight? Yes. I mean, and if you miss a day, is it the end of the world? No. But
it's better when you do.
Yeah. It's like, I can tell you, like, there are nights that I don't brush my teeth, and the next morning I kick myself, but I brush my teeth in the morning. So just take it in the morning. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, everyone is, they're asking for it. So like, we've got, 8,000 clients, I would say, between all 5 locations. Yeah, about 7,000 clients, and about 15% are men. So, say just under 1,000, and they actually do communicate with us. Like, when we send a newsletter, why don't you send stuff about guys? Like, when we send dermal filler, like, why are you texting me about lip filler? Yeah. And so they're like, why don't we do peptides? And like, literally, because it's interactive. Our text and our email and even the social platform, and they're saying all these things. And so it's not like we're not listening. We're listening. It's like, how do we put them into action? And so that's why we came here today. And I really appreciate your guys' time. if there's anything that I can do for you taking this time out of your schedules, please let me know. Sounds like we're meeting at the spa on Tuesday for chair massage and some testosterone
and blood work for Charlie.
Yeah, no, Charlie's got to get a shit check.
But I really appreciate you guys being here. This is amazing. I hope we get to do this again after Charlie's been on testosterone for 12 weeks.
Yeah, there we go.
We can wash his t-shirt on his stomach. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks, Amir.
Thank you.